Hi guys! Today we are going to be talking about wax temperature. What setting do I leave my warmer on and how hot do I run my wax? I don't keep it to one specific setting just because my services vary throughout the day, so I kind of play around with the temperature throughout the day. If I'm doing facial services, it's gonna run a little bit warmer. If I'm doing body services, I'm gonna want my wax to be a bit more tacky. Okay, so I use the 5.5 warmer from Starpo Wax. The reason I love this warmer is because it doesn't warm from one specific source. For instance, the bottom, and then that heat rises and your wax will eventually melt down. It doesn't work that way. The way this warmer works is it's going to warm from every direction. You're getting full range of warmth throughout your wax, so when it melts down, it's all melting down at the same time with the same type of consistency. And in the center of the warmer, which I'll show you in a bit, it's tackier, and as it spreads out to the edges, it's gonna get hotter and hotter. So when I'm doing an eyebrow service or any kind of facial services, I'm gonna want my wax to be a little bit warmer. When I say hotter, I mean a little bit warmer. So don't take what I'm saying so literal and then run your wax so hot that you're not just taking pigment, but you're also taking eyelids, okay? Nova Wax has a lower melting point, so you're gonna reach that desired temperature much faster than you would with other hard waxes. Also, something to take into consideration, what type of warmer are you using and how much wax is in your warmer? I currently have about 5 pounds of wax in there. 5 pounds more wax you have, the more heat it's gonna take to really melt it down. When I first get here, I am going to turn my wax all the way to 105. That's the max temperature because I want to melt it down to that perfect consistency that I want to find. So this is ideal for body services, okay? And it's set to about 75. So when I go to pull, keep in mind that the tackiest and the coolest area of your wax warmer is going to be in the center. As you start getting closer and closer to the edges, it's gonna get warmer and warmer. And I typically pull for body services right from the center, for facial services from the edge, because you want it to be a little bit warmer. This is perfect. Do you see how I still have control of that wax? It's not like uncontrollable or running off my stick. I would feel confident laying this down on a Brazilian or an underarm. The next strip that you want to do is a leg service, and this is going to require much more wax and it's going to be a much larger area that you have to cover. So you want to make sure that you have enough on your stick, right? Okay, so we're going to pull enough to cover a thigh area. That's really going, and I'm going to get some of that tacky film that was up on top of my wax. So this is good for a thigh, okay? I can't hold it up that high because it gets really hard to twirl because it's really heavy. So now that we want to do facial services, we want to run the wax a bit warmer. I'm going to go ahead and set it all the way to 95, okay? Am I going to keep it set to 95? No, because that's dangerous, okay? So you don't want it set to 95. I just want to warm my wax. I just want to get it to the point that I'm looking for. So don't be a hero. I go to 95 just so that I could get it to the consistency that I'm looking for. Once I've found that consistency, I'm gonna turn it back down to about between 65 and 75, just depending. When you pull wax, the moment that wax is lifted out of the warmer, it's starting to cool, it's starting to set. Okay, this is another reason why I like to keep my wax a little bit warmer, because when I pull, it's cooling, it's cooling. They'll walk over to my client. By the time I go to, set my strip and really get in place, that's like a good 5 seconds of my wax starting to cool and starting to set. So if you go to pull and your wax is tacky, by the time you get to your client, it's gonna be even more tacky, even more cool, and I don't really like to work with wax that's that tacky. I like to work with wax that's a little bit warmer. A little bit. All right, so I'm gonna pull from the edge of the warmer. I would use this particular strip here for, ooh, look at the shimmer. Look at the highlight, guys. I've always wanted to do this hand thing that you see on YouTube with like beauty gurus, and I've just never done it because why would I? But I just did that. Okay. Anyway, back to business. So let's pull for an eyebrow. I would lay that on a brow. See how it's starting to drip, but I still have control? It's also setting. That's what I talked about earlier. From the moment you pull, my AC is hitting this wax, so it's starting to set. It's not gonna be as effective. Turn it down to 75 because the internal heat is where I want it, okay? And I'm gonna constantly stir because I don't want that top coat to affect my pull. All right, so I'm gonna get that out of the way. Yeah, and I would use this on an eyelid for sure. Cause see, if my wax is cooling, my wax is cooling, my wax is cooling. I cut the strings and look at the drip. Can you see the drip? That's ideal for a eyelid. See, it's a perfect consistency. Boom, I like that. See that drip? That's perfect. How do you get your heat back to where you want it if you just had a full face and your next service is a Brazilian? Mira, mira, sas. Turn it off. So you need to get going, you need to start the service, and you feel like your wax still isn't at the consistency that you'd hoped it'd be. Well, guess what? Life sometimes isn't fair, and you gotta roll with it. You gotta make things happen. So you're gonna make that wax get to that consistency. This is how you do it. You're gonna pull from the edge because the warmer's off, and the edges are now your friend. You're gonna twirl it until you find that consistency that you like. Boom, sas, 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 yaki, stas, ta, ta. All right, and that is a comfortable temperature. And that is a comfortable temperature. That's comfortable, guys. That's good right there. I like that. All right, that's how you get to that temperature. So when in doubt, just be confident. Because if you understand your wax and you know how it works at different temperature settings, then you will become a much better waxer. That's it, you guys. That was my wax temperature and other tips kind of thrown into the mix. So if you guys have any questions, concerns, thoughts, go ahead and feel free, comment, DM me, let's talk about it. Again, if you have maybe a different way of doing things and you don't agree with my methods, that's cool, girl. Keep doing your thing. Do your thing, and whatever works for you. I've always said it. There isn't a specific way of doing everything. You want to do things properly, and you want to provide quality service, safe quality service. But if you found a way that works for you and that you're comfortable with, do that. This is what I'm comfortable with, and this is the way that I wax.